Okay, I'm also just going to record this just in case something goes wrong. Sweet. Okay. YouTube looks good. So we're just going to wait for viewers to start coming in. So I'm going to keep my eye on the YouTube and we'll just wait. Could y'all hear the audio feedback just then? Okay, good. Okay, on the YouTube, I'm on the YouTube page and it was showing that it's like 20 seconds delayed. So I was hearing myself and I was like, I hope y'all aren't hearing that through my headphones, but that's all good. Okay. Aw, someone said hi. Going one viewer strong right now. Oh, 3. 4. For those who are on, we're just going to wait a minute or two for more folks to come in. We've been going between, oh, now we've been going between 4 and 5 viewers. Big audience, everyone. I think our best last year was 73 live viewers, I want to say, but that was in May. So we'll see. Now, I think that one now is like 600 views on YouTube. So that's pretty good, I think. I'm not a YouTube influencer, so who knows? Got 9. Here we go. More people coming in. $11. 9. Really oscillating here. For those coming on, we're just going to wait a minute or two for a few more folks to get in the room. We're at 14. Okay, I think my internal goal is 15. So once we hit 15, I think I'll get us going. Let's see. 16. Okay. Great. So we're gonna get going. Now that we have 16 viewers. So thank you everyone so much for making time on a Thursday night to come just hear about, students on the team experiences at Amherst. And this is going to be very free flowing. We've prepared a couple of questions really just to have our current student athletes on the team talk about their experiences here. And then at the end, if you have questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat, or if you have my email or number, feel free to shoot me a text or email. I'll be checking throughout. And I just want to say Oliver Spive, I don't know if he's here yet. He's coming from work, so he'll be here pretty soon. And then Kalichi Aziri was hoping to be here, but he wasn't feeling well. So we're just one person short officially, and then Oliver will come in a little bit. But yeah, so just to get started, we're just gonna have, just some really quick introductions. So we're gonna have everyone say their name, where you call home, what year you are, what you're majoring in. It's okay if you're not decided yet, though I think, well, yeah, Alton, you're a sophomore, so you don't have to be decided yet. What you've been up to this summer, and also I meant to include in our pre thing was what event group or events you do. So yeah, so I'm Veronica Rocco. I'm one of the coaches, and I graduated from Amherst in 2019, and I've been here since. And I was an American Studies major, and I coach the mid-distance and distance events, and I coach those events and those athletes, student athletes now. So whoever on the team, on the Zoom wants to get going, feel free to go ahead and just introduce yourself, and we'll just go, around the horn. Whoever wants to go, just go ahead. And yeah.
I can go. I'm Sierra. I'm from Scarsdale, New York, and I'm going to be a junior this year. I'm majoring in economics and psychology, and this summer I've been working for a private equity firm and on Martha's Vineyard. Oh, and I run the 400 and 800.
I can go next. Hopefully that my internet doesn't cut out, but I'm Ellis. I'm a rising junior. I'm from Windham, Connecticut, and I run the 400 hurdles. And I'm a major in philosophy. This summer I worked at Generation teaching 8th graders in Denver and Boston law. Yeah.
I can go. So I'm Alton. I'm a rising sophomore. I also run the 400 hurdles in the 400. This summer, I've been at home in Columbia, Maryland. I'm interning remotely at a private equity firm. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next year.
I can go. So my name is Maggie. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm originally from San Francisco, California, and at Amherst, I'm majoring in math and architectural studies. This summer, I'm living in New York City with a friend on the track team and interning at a consulting firm. And at Amherst on the track team, I run cross country in the fall, and I'm part of mid-distance in the winter and spring.
Hi, I'm Bobby. I am a senior at Amherst. I'm from Northampton, Massachusetts, very close by. I'm a math and stats major. And this summer, I've been living at home in Northampton. I've been interning for the Bureau of Labor Statistics, doing some data science research and work. And I do mid-distance and cross-country events.
I'm Ava. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm from Princeton, New Jersey. I'm going to be a junior as well, and I also do the 400 and 400 hurdles. And this summer, I was in Pittsburgh doing research in software engineering at Carnegie Mellon, and I just got back home.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourselves. Really appreciate it. And yeah, so like I said, we've pre-prepared some questions. And the first question that I'm going to ask, and I should say we have a couple of questions that'll be more in general that from our students on the team will address. And then we also kind of brought in everyone here kind of in pairs of people we know who are friends, whether it's, different gender, different event groups, generally the same year. So we'll do some paired questions, but I'll start out with two general ones. And the first one will be, what is your favorite team memory? And for the students on the team, feel free to answer it however order you want. And I think that's a really lovely question. So yeah, go ahead.
I go ahead since I think I have one that particularly sticks out to me. I guess freshman year, Little Threes. It was my first ever meet as a Mammoth, and I don't know, we had done a lot of practice and preparation, and I didn't really know what to think. I was only running the 4x4, and maybe like 10 minutes before it starts, Coach Rubin comes over. He's like, the whole meet is decided on this race. And I was just a freshman. I never ran a race. I never been in the bib before. And so I ran the second leg. I ran a decent leg, but we won. And that was the 4x4 was the deciding factor. So that felt especially good. And I don't know, it was nice to see the first time, I guess, in a long time, us win little threes. And it was a really good team effort. So that was one that stuck out to me for sure.
I can go next. One memory I had was the night before and the morning of D3s. All of the girls on the women's team had like decorations before the meet. So everyone, if you wanted to, sprayed purple in each other's hair. We had a whole bunch of purple and just white stuff all over. And it was the first time I felt really excited about the team spirit, especially that was my first meet. So it was really exciting.
I can go next. I think for me, a lot of my best memories come from being at meets and getting to watch other people race and cheering with the team. And there's so much excitement and it's pretty contagious getting to watch and cheer other people on. I just remember like, especially the relays is really exciting kind of at the end of the meet, everyone watching. I remember watching the relays at NESCAX my freshman year and just there was so much excitement. Everyone was running around. So that was really fun. I'd also say some like when we do destination long runs in cross country, so we'll sometimes go to like a reservoir or we'll go to, I don't know, somewhere nice to run. It's nice to get off campus a bit. And those are always good memories.
So my favorite memory is a little bit controversial, but it is Burrito Gate, which was when the whole team went to Cornell for a meet. And so we stayed overnight the night before. The meet went really well. Everybody raced incredibly well. And we were against some great competition, which is always wonderful. And then on the way back, we were set to get a big order of burritos from Chipotle when Chipotle unfortunately really struggled to fulfill our order. And so it took them an additional 3 hours past when they were expected to complete the order. Hence, we ended up arriving back at Amherst at 2 a.m. And I remember that bus ride and waiting for my burrito so vividly and thinking there's no other group of people on this earth that I would rather be starving and tired and exhausted with. So that will always be a favorite track memory for me.
Being a sophomore, in my first year, it was a little different. So we didn't really get to gather as a team, except in a few instances. So, I mean, my favorite memories were just with my long sprints group together practicing. But as a team, I really enjoyed when we were able to go to meets together. I thought the bus rides were really fun. Like, you're only going to like not too far. We go to Williams or, we went to Williams, and it was really exciting going there and watching everyone compete and seeing a team together for the first time. So I really enjoyed that.
One of my favorite team memories is this is probably a little controversial too, but it was one of our virtual meets in the fall. So since we couldn't really compete, we kind of just had these like virtual we would just kind of do time trials at the track basically and then compare with another school and compete, I guess, in that way. But it was nice because we just kind of got to run races early in the fall. So you weren't in your best shape, just kind of like having fun with the team and just getting a time down. And then for the rest of the day, I think it was also like Fall Fest, maybe? Yeah, so it was like a really nice day. And we like got food and then we watched everyone else compete. And yeah, that was my favorite memory.
Those are all great memories, and I was laughing as each one of you were telling that because I was there for most of them. And I do remember, I want to add for the burrito gate that Maggie mentioned, was that I was in charge of the Chipotle order. I remember going on the bus and I'm just telling everyone on the bus, I'm so sorry it's taking so long, and everyone couldn't have been any nicer about it. And I was so grateful for everyone being so nice about it. Really appreciated that. And then this spring when we were getting Chipotle again, I remember Maggie or someone being like, well, hopefully we don't have another burrito gate. And all the first years were like, what's burrito gate? I had no idea that we were calling it burrito gate, but it was funny. So I love that. That's a great memory, Maggie. So that's awesome. And then the next question I'm going to ask to the group, and also too, for those watching, if you have a question, like I said, feel free to put in the comments on the YouTube or shoot me a text or send me an email. Is for the students on the team is, how did you stay in touch with your teammates the last 18 months? And I know everyone here was on campus at some point in this past, year and a half, but, there were times you weren't on campus, or, Alton, you were coming into the team and had never, been a student at Amherst before. So yeah, just good to hear about how you stayed in touch with your teammates during these crazy past 18 months.
I mean, I can go ahead.
Alice.
Oh, okay. My bad. I'm definitely frozen. Am I not frozen? Okay. For me, like, there's a really good, like, strong community culture in my year of track, and also in like the other years as well. We were a pretty tight knit group, and so like, especially during the summer last year, we always like hop on a FaceTime every few months, and it was just like kind of a group you could do that with. I don't know, like my track team in high school, I would never do that with them, or like something like that. But I think we're a really tight knit group, and it's not just on the track that we're really close. Like, also, you can go grab lunch with people, you can go study with people in the library. Even during the bubble, you can just go and like hang out outside, get a meal. So I think there was a lot of ways that we connected off the track that like helped build not only like just friendships, but also like good team culture and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would agree with Ellis. I think the main way that I stayed in touch with people on the team when I couldn't like see them in person was definitely a FaceTime call or something like that. I remember last year, I think on my birthday, we did like a group FaceTime, which was really nice. Just to kind of like catch up with everyone and hear about what's going on in everyone's lives. But yeah, it'll definitely be super nice to see everyone in person again. So
Yeah, I think being on campus, it's definitely a little easier to stay in touch, just because since Amherst is a bit smaller, there's so many different ways to connect to your teammates, as Alice was saying, on and off the track. So a lot of times after practice, like the team will walk into Val together, and get dinner or lunch, or after any time there's track. So there's a lot of bonding experiences that happen outside of practice.
Yeah, so I remember when the pandemic first started, there was a lot of like Zoom calls that were happening between people on the team. And I know like in some were in smaller groups, and others were kind of with the whole larger team with coaches there also. But that was a nice way to stay in touch with people and get FaceTime, play games or something, just kind of catch up. Besides that, and also like kind of once the semester started, some people were back on campus and others were like living together. So a lot of people on the team lived together in groups in apartments. They rented apartments or houses in different places. So definitely people stayed in touch a lot.
For me, in the first semester coming in, I really expected it to be tough to get to meet my teammates with all the restrictions and everything, but I think they really made an effort to reach out both virtually and in person. So that was good. And then in the second semester, I was able to like request who I was going to live with. So I lived with a bunch of the people in my grade who became really close. And I really enjoyed that. And then having the season in the spring, we were able to bond together on the meets and in practices. So I thought there was a good amount of time to really be with my teammates.
From a training perspective, I will say it was really helpful to have a team Strava account. So some of the captains last year set up one that all of the cross country and mid D people joined. And that was really helpful, especially during so many months of the pandemic where I wasn't training with anyone and was just running alone. And so it was really helpful to see the runs that my teammates were going on, which honestly really pushed me to get out there and just get the miles in. So that was sort of a less fun, keeping in touch kind of way, but honestly was really helpful for my own training.
Awesome. I think that was everyone there responding to that one. So thank you very much. So now we're going to kick off the paired questions, and the pairs that we chose as coaches. So one pair is Bobby and Maggie. Another pair is Ava and Sierra. Another pair is Ellis and Casey, who could not make it here. And then Oliver, who is on his way. He texted me. He's working at a running shoe store down at home. So he will be on here very shortly. So I figured we start with the pairs who are here. And so I'd love to hear, first and foremost, how did y'all become friends? Everyone makes friends in different ways. So yeah, go ahead. Whoever wants to start, please go ahead.
I can go first. So I'm just doing Sierra, right? Okay, so how we became friends. I think, okay, so the first day that we had moved in and everything, I actually knew another girl on the team because she reached out to me on social media. And so she was like, hey, I'm going with a few girls to get dinner on the first night, like if you want to come. And I was so relieved because I didn't know anyone. I just moved in. My parents just left and I was all alone. But then I got to meet a few girls on the team, and one of them was Sierra. And I remember realizing that all the girls there except for Sierra were on cross country. So they had all, I think, kind of started training together, knew each other. And so I found out Sierra ran just track like me. And so we kind of connected through that. And then I think maybe the next day or a couple of days later, she was like, have you run yet today? And I was like, no. And so then we went on a run together. And yeah, that was the beginning of our friendship, I would say. And yeah, from there.
Sierra, give your perspective now.
Yeah, so I have the same perspective. We went to that first dinner, and I was connected to Ava because my roommate was also on cross country. So I came to Amherst not knowing a single person on the team at all, except for Gigi because she was my roommate. So I was so excited to go out to dinner and meet other people on our team. And the same as Ava, was so excited to meet someone who also wasn't in preseason for cross country, because then we got to work out all fall together. And it was really great just to have someone there to train with before practice started. So we clicked right away.
I can start for Bobby and I. So we actually kind of have a bit of a funny friendship origin story. So we actually met maybe about a month into captain's practices, which is a period of the fall when the track athletes will work out with the senior captains, who will schedule workouts and help guide the younger students through them before official coach practices will typically start in mid-October or early November. And so this was probably end of September, and we were living in dorms that were across from each other in the freshman quad. And so I'd seen Bobby at a few practices, knew his name, but didn't really know anything about him. And so he was walking an awkward distance in front of me, 10 feet or so. So I put in my earbuds because I didn't really want to talk to him. And he was walking past Memorial Hill, going down the steps, when all of a sudden this squirrel runs straight at him and then immediately darts into the bushes. And Bobby is very scared of squirrels, apparently. So he jumps 3 feet in the air. And I just burst out laughing because it was so comical. He hears someone laughing, turns back, is like, I'm so sorry, I was so startled by that squirrel. And so then we start talking, and the rest is history. We've been best friends ever since. So I don't know if you remember it differently, but I feel like that will always be seared into my memory.
Yeah, I remember that very similarly. My perspective is coming from the other side of the quad, but otherwise I think you got that pretty down. I'm very scared of squirrels, which is tough. There's a lot of them on the Amherst campus, so I've had to get used to that. But yeah, I remember we discussed how it rained the day before, so we discussed how you gave me the tip of putting newspaper in wet shoes to dry them out. Yeah, that's the stuff with me. But yeah, the rest is history.
Those practical tips. Go ahead, Alton.
Sorry, yeah, Ollie's not here, so but the way we met was before I even got to Amherst, Veronica and Coach Rubin sent a list of everyone in our incoming class and our contact information. So we had a group chat of everyone coming in, And so we had all been talking. So we knew that when we moved in, when there really wasn't much to do, like after we had a little quarantine process, there wasn't really anything going on. We all got together. So, and then me and Oliver kind of really clicked. So, you know, we hung out a lot, like especially on the weekends, and during the week we would study together. Um, and, you know, we do completely different events. Like he's more of a mid distance, longer distance type of guy. But we ended up like in the spring, we actually we lived in Greenway. We had like a room where we shared like the same common room, like a suite kind of thing. So it was almost like we were roommates, even though we didn't really have him this year. So and then he also lives really close to me at home, so we've been able to spend a lot of time together this summer. So we've become really good friends.
Yeah, and Casey isn't here, but I guess I can speak to a little bit to my side of our friendship. Um, I guess it's kind of the first time I remember and I know Casey. I was just like, it was maybe like captain's practice in the fall, and Casey was doing his barber stuff back then, and we weren't really talking at practice. We were in different event groups. He was jumping. I was doing long sprints. So we really only talk in warm ups or like small talk stuff like that. But I needed a cut, and like Casey hooked me up, you know, bless, and I guess we just went to his room. Stuff. We just had a good conversation, and I don't want to be cliche, but it's really the rest is history. Is like, yeah, like from there, I was like, yeah, that's my guy. And he's been a really good teammate to have. He's really hardworking, and from the moment
He might be frozen. I can't tell. Oh. Ellis, you froze up a little bit at the end. Sorry about that.
it's all good. I was finishing up.
Okay, anything you want to repeat? I think you ended off where the rest is history. You know, he's your guy.
Oh yeah, I was saying he was really welcoming to the team for me. Since I'm a walk on. He was really welcoming, and Alton, why are you laughing at me? But yeah, it was just good. I think I'm lagging.
That's okay. Okay. So the next paired question we have is, I would love for each of you to tell a story just from a time when you and your buddy in this group were just hanging out. So each of you tell a different story, please. Because I feel like the origin stories are always the same, but a hangouts, lots of times y'all are hanging out. And yeah.
I can go first again if we want to keep the order. I don't know. I have a lot of ones with Sierra. I guess I'll just do one that's kind of recent. So since we weren't on campus in the spring, we both were living together in Amherst, and so we would go do workouts together on the track because the high school track actually, because we couldn't use Amherst College track. So I'm not gonna lie, some days it was really hard to get motivated. Like it was really cold out and we just weren't with the team. We missed the whole team so much doing workouts all together. So kind of all we had was each other to just keep us pushing through. And it was nice because Sierra had her car. So we would just drive to the track together and we would just play music and we would just be like super ridiculous. And then we would both kind of like go our separate ways and do our workouts and then like join back together to do like post workout together. Yeah, and I probably would not have been as consistent as I had been if it weren't for having a friend there to do like pre-workout, post-workout stuff with me.
Yeah, I can add on to that. It was definitely a huge help, just for motivation and to be able to train together. And we definitely kept each other to a schedule because we'd try to agree on the time we'd go to the track the day before, just so we couldn't wiggle out of it. So it was great to train together. and then also being off campus, just another memories. We got to do a lot of hikes to explore the general Amherst area, and we found some absolutely beautiful trails that we will definitely be going back to for years. So I think we just realized how lucky we are to be in such a beautiful place. And even though Amherst campus is so fun, I really recommend exploring to everyone because it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah, I can go next. So I'll tell the story of last summer, summer 2020. I visited Maggie. She was staying with her grandfather and family in Martha's Vineyard. And our friend Mia, who's also on the team, also went and visited. And so the plan for the day was Maggie set us up. We're gonna go on this really like nice bike ride with these bikes that we had in the that she'd had in her house there. And one of the bikes was like really bad quality. It was very old and couldn't really be steered or like brake very well. Anyway, it ended up being a really long bike ride. So we were like exhausted. We're like, I don't know how many hours in at this point. And we're driving on this road and Maggie's using the really bad bike and she's in the front. And we see this like wild turkey on the side of the road. And there's a car coming behind us. It's just a very stressful situation. And the turkey like tries to jump up onto the fence and then the turkey falls backwards and it falls into the road just as we're about to pass it. And Maggie just plows over the turkey, which the turkey like it was definitely okay. Like it probably just lost a few feathers, but yeah, it was definitely a core memory for me. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Maggie.
It is also a core memory for me. Can never look at turkeys the same way again. On a more lighthearted story note, so Bobby visited me and our friend on the team, Grace, this summer in Manhattan. And while he was here, we decided to make the most adventurous meals as we possibly could. So we made crepes one night. We made these amazing like butternut squash tortellini with the goat cheese sauce. We were making pizzas and pastas and all sorts of stuff. So that was also a blast. And we were blasting whatever music matched the tone of the meal. So we were playing a ton of French music when we had our crepes, etc. So that was a really fun memory when you came to visit, Bobby.
I would say my best memories will Oliver be, since we kind of like shared that room, would be in the common room area. Like we would just, because we would always come back and eat our meals there since we weren't able to eat our meals like in Val or anything. So we would always come back there and then say like, oh, like let's start our work after this. But then we would end up like just like laying on the couch for a couple hours or something like that and getting distracted and just killing time. So yeah, we really made our best memories in that room. And then yeah.
Yeah, on a similar note, I think probably my most fond memories with he said probably in the fall with the bubble. Can y'all hear me? Okay. With the bubble, it was like, I'm gonna just do this quick. But it was really lonely sometimes. And sometimes we just sit up at night, me, Casey, and sometimes Matt as well. We just like talk really late into the night. And I think it was like good, like safe space and like comforting space for all three of us. And yeah, I think it was just a like really fun memory because probably wouldn't have made it through the bubble without it. And because it got really lonely at times. Yeah.
Well, thank you all for sharing that and being so vulnerable in like bachelor terms. So thank you for sharing that. And then I believe the last paired question I have for now is what's something unique or what's something about your partner that you find unique to them, partner, buddy, whatever. Yeah.
I can go. So I would say in general, Sierra is just probably one of the most unique people I've ever met, like ever. She's got a lot going on. She's a lot of interesting talents, hobbies, I don't know, everything. Her sense of humor is crazy. But something that I don't know, I think that a lot of people know about her is that she didn't really start her track journey in the normal timeline. I think she started in like junior year maybe. And before that, she had been a competitive Irish dancer. And so she was like really good. She would go to Ireland and yeah, I've gotten to see a couple of her videos, I think, but not nearly enough. And so we might have to do some more performances in the near future. Thank you.
Yeah, that's usually the fun fact that comes out either from me or from my friends. Yeah, but I did grow up doing Irish dancing. Something unique about Ava is that she's also really, really good at soccer. So she grew up playing soccer and also sort of started her track career a little later than typical because she was playing. And she also just got a new puppy named Sophie, and she's very, very cute. But that's the other thing.
I can show her later if that's appropriate.
That is expected now, Ava. Go get Sophie. Ava's going to get Sophie. Okay, someone else go while we're waiting for puppy Sophie.
I can go. Uh, Maybe this will work better if my camera's off. But I was gonna say a fun fact about Casey is that he's a really good singer. Actually, no, he's not. I'm just kidding. Don't listen to what he says. He cannot sing. He will tell you he can. But a fun fact is that he's actually a good painter and a good artist. But he doesn't really tell that many people. But yeah, he cannot sing. Don't listen.
So something unique about Oliver is, well, I think he's just a really unique person. Like, I think he's got a unique taste in music. I mean, I put him on to a lot of it, but I do like his taste in music. And also, but I would say the number one thing for him really is I think he's the hardest worker I know, really. Like he works so hard that the coaches really have to like taper him down because he can hurt himself. Like he doesn't really want to take no for an answer. Like he likes to do things his way and work really hard, which is, I think living next to him really, helped me work hard, seeing his discipline, his habits. But yeah, so I mean, it's like you may say it's not unique. A lot of people work hard, but it really is. Like I guarantee you, he works harder than anybody you know.
All right. Well, for Maggie, Maggie, I'd say you're a very unique person. But I would say what makes Maggie unique, one of the things that makes Maggie unique is how multi-talented she is, and just very like widely involved in things. So she is a very talented crocheter. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but like big crocheter. Crochets like lots of clothing for herself. It's very impressive. It looks very professional. Let's see what else beyond that. So she is in part of the group of students on campus called ASUMS, which is the emergency medical service. So she works as an EMT on campus. And that, yeah, working with that. She used to work on the farm as well, definitely has a green thumb. Also a big baker. I feel like you got into that in quarantine a lot, baking a lot of breads and pastries and such. Though you're not great at remembering to turn off the oven, was something I noticed from my experience when I visited New York. But yeah, very many talents. That's just a few of them.
Thank you, Bobby. You really gassed me up. Something unique about Bobby, this is not on the same level, but he has two differently colored eyes. So one of his eyes is brown and the other eye is hazel, which is really cool. So take a close look next time you see him. And then on a deeper note, I would say Bobby is incredibly dedicated to bettering the communities that he's a part of. So he's part of a group on campus called the Wellness Team, which does a ton of amazing advocacy work for promoting mental health among students. And so I've seen him lead incredible discussions, workshops, classes, etc., and often goes unnoticed, but just wanted to shout out the awesome work he's doing on campus.
Awesome. So wait, Ava just had Sophie, her puppy, but then I see Ava disappeared from the picture. So maybe we'll, oh no, oh my God. Okay, Ava, go and talk so we can see Sophie.
Okay. Hi, this is Sophie. She's like 4 months old, and yeah, she's really baby. Yeah, so I'll let her get back to whatever she's doing, but she wanted to meet you guys.
Thank you, Ava. I love dogs. Okay, and now just say Oliver is here. So Oliver, I just love if you could just say your name, where you call home, what year you're in, what events you do, and what you're doing this summer. I can repeat all of this. I know that's a lot.
No, all good. Yeah, I'm Oliver. I am from Washington, D.C. I run the mile and the 800. And this summer I'm working at a running store. So no impressive internships here. Just some nice blue collar work for the summer.
Awesome. So what we've been doing so far, Oliver, is just short little paired questions about each person. So Alden's been saying wonderful things about you. So he told us how y'all met and how you became friends. And I was just wondering if you could tell us a story about a time that you were in Alton, we're just hanging out, and then also what makes Alton unique.
For sure. Well, going off camera. Well, Alton is a very low-key guy, and I don't think a lot of people realize how impressive Alton is just because of how quiet he keeps it. But I like had been helping Alton like do some random prep for I guess an interview, and I had no idea what it was for, but like one night he just had me ask him a bunch of random questions, and I knew he was applying for something, but I had no idea what it was. And then like 2 weeks later, I hear from like some random person who lives on our hall that Alden had landed like one of the most impressive internships in like just a really impressive internship that paid really well, and like he literally hadn't told any of us, and I think that kind of encapsulates the guy Alden is. Very high achieving, but very humble about it. So that's my Alden story.
Awesome. Well, it's always kind of fun when your friends surprise you and you're like, oh my gosh, you just did this. I get that. Amherst folks are, just great, motivated, genuine, humble people, I think is the best way to describe it. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Oliver. And then this is just another around the horn style question is, what is your favorite meal or food that you've ever had from Val, which is our dining hall on campus? We just have one dining hall on campus, but I love Val. I didn't have lunch there today, but I will get lunch there tomorrow. It's fish and chips, and I'm already excited about that.
The best thing that I ate from Val, I actually ate every day for like 3 months, and it was pesto chicken and rice. And what I loved about it is that Val has sort of like this healthy section that's there every day, basically all hours. So you don't really have to wait on any of the regular food lines, and it was absolutely delicious to the point that when we got sent home, I almost considered emailing Val and asking where they get the pesto, but I didn't because my family thought that was weird, but that's how good it is.
So my favorite food from Val was actually, it's not a meal, but like this year they had late night food. So you could get late night food from like 9:45 to 12. I remember me and Oliver, a couple of friends actually went and we got some ribs, and the ribs were really good, like with some rice. And they didn't like a lot of the late night foods they would have every week, but they didn't have the ribs that often. And we were really eating those ribs. They were good.
Go ahead, Ava. It's all you.
Okay. Thanks, Oliver. So I'm like pretty boring. I would say though, Val does have good oatmeal, and they have like a bunch of different toppings in the morning, so you can like put whatever you want on it. I usually do some like, fruit if they have it, peanut butter, cinnamon. I don't know. They have nice variety. But I will say, to Sierra's point about the pesto, she's absolutely obsessed with it. And I just want to tell a little story if that's okay. So one time I was with her and Val, and like they were all out of the pesto in the little like salad scooper thing. So she asked one of the ladies working there, like, oh, like, do you guys have any more of the pesto? And she was like, yeah. And so she filled it in front of us, right? And she just took it out of like this giant plastic bag and like squeezed it into the salad thing. And like, I don't know, like I feel like some people would just be like demystified by the process of the fact that it's just like, I don't know, it's just pesto that comes in a plastic bag. But Sierra was unfazed, and it's still just like her favorite. If anything, that probably made her love it more. But yeah, she raves about the pesto. I've had it too, it's good, but it just does something different for Sierra, I guess.
Um, I don't know if it's like a normal meal or if it was just like a COVID thing, but there was there's some pasta with like mushrooms in it. I don't know what it's called, but I know like this is kind of a hot take, but I'm a big mushroom fan, and so the mushroom pasta was really crushing for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with that one, Oliver. But my favorite meal is tres leches cake. I know you're gonna say that's not a meal, Ellis. That's just dessert. But I'm telling you, I will eat tres leches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Can't see my face right now, but I'm telling you, tres leches cake is the only thing you need to eat at Val. The only thing that's really worth your time at Val. And if I could eat every day, I would. But y'all go off about your sausage pasta.
I mean, not like to attest to Ellis's point. I remember one day after practice, we got out kind of late, and he like texted everybody. Like everybody looked at their phone, and Ellis had texted them saying, "Do they have any Tres Leches cake?" And like in the other dining hall, because there was a few different dining halls, and the one he went to, it ran out. So he was like texting everybody he knew to try to get another piece or something. He was even gonna eat the vegan one.
So I would say my favorite meal. This might be a hot take. I don't know. I enjoy the sesame like ginger glazed chicken thighs that they have. I feel like it's their best cooked chicken, and they get some nice like caramelization on it, which I appreciate. It's always served with a fried rice, and this past semester will always be served with this really good mousse as well, which I thought was really good. But also around usually like around holidays like Thanksgiving or towards the end of December, they'll have like special meals. And those are really good because when they really like try to go all out, they can make some really fancy gourmet stuff. So I would say look out for the holiday meals, and you get some really fancy desserts and stuff. Very good.
Yeah, Val has a really good Valentine's Day meal, to Bobby's point, which is always super fun. Tons of desserts. And then for my favorite meal at Val, I actually think Val does lunches a lot better than they do dinners, to be honest. I really like their wraps. So they have a really good chicken Caesar wrap, buff chicken wrap. They got rid of those in COVID, which is really sad, but I'm really hoping that they bring them back in the fall.
These are all some really good takes. I just want to add at some point, I don't remember what day it was, because again, this semester the days were odd, and I've been eating for Val for like 7 years now. I love it so much. I keep going back. I think it might be the day that you're talking about, Bobby, but they had like a teriyaki salmon, and it was so good. I think that was maybe the best salmon I've had in my entire life. I'm not exaggerating the slightest. It was so good. I think it was the fried rice day. I can't remember. So I really hope they bring that back. That is my really big hope for the semester. I'll write a comment card. You can write comment cards literally like on pen and paper on the wall in Val. You can do it digitally. So Maggie, I think buff chick wrap will be a really high demand for this upcoming year, and I would imagine they'd bring it back. So yeah, well, Val's the best. I think I love Val. So thanks for sharing all of your favorite meals, everyone. And just the last question around the horn style. And so far we have one question in the comments, but anyone else has any questions, feel free to put them in. It's just for you, and each one of you, our current team members, is what made you decide on coming to Amherst? And yeah.
I can go first. I think specifically something I loved about Amherst, which Veronica, you sort of touched on before, was how successful yet modest everyone was on the campus. So I really like that the general flow, everyone is very hardworking. Everyone has individual goals, but it's not at the forefront of their personality. So what I noticed at Amherst compared to other colleges I toured was that specifically with the track team and also just the general student population is everyone's there to help you. And you don't feel like you're competing against other people. It feels like you're working together towards your own individual goals. So I definitely loved how humble and just kind everyone was.
Yeah, I agree with Sierra. And I feel like just the number one thing that I considered when picking Amherst, and just the number one thing really one should consider is the people that you're going to be surrounded by. Because regardless, I mean, Amherst like has great resources and facilities and all that, but none of that is as important if you're not, I mean, the people are going to make it or break it for you. So I think when I did my admitted students weekend at Amherst, just seeing both the students that were currently there, the fellow admitted students, and getting to talk to different faculty members. That was the biggest thing, and just seeing, are you going to gel with these people? These are really good and nice people. So yeah, I feel like that's the number one thing in making a decision.
Yeah, I would piggyback off of what Bobby was saying. Um, when I took my visit with I visited with the team. Um, it was really refreshing to see how well balanced they were. Like they were able to keep up a pretty um a pretty exhausting academic situation and athletic situation, and like they also had like they really enjoyed each other's company and like found fun things to do with their time. um and that's definitely not the case at a lot of schools where people I think are like force themselves to be you know into one mold. I think at Amherst it's definitely true that you can be a lot of different things and participate in kind of a wide spectrum of activities.
Yeah, I agree with everything that everyone said. I didn't choose Amherst for one reason at all. There's a bunch of reasons, but to really simplify it, it's a top school. I really got along with everyone that I met on my visit. I really like the coaching staff. I was surrounded by the people too. Like I visited with Casey. I really enjoyed getting to know him, and so it really wasn't a difficult decision for me personally. But like I know there's a lot of options out there for colleges, and I told myself really like don't have the fear of like missing out on something else. Like I really enjoyed what I had at Amherst, and I kind of just focused in on that instead of thinking about okay, well, let me compare this to a bunch of other things where like I knew I'd be happy at Amherst, and decided to just go with my gut there.
I think, like Alton said, like it wasn't one specific reason that I chose Amherst, but if I had to pick just one, I would say the fact that um, we're like students first and then athletes. So like still having the opportunity to like be super competitive and be a part of the team, which like I always did in high school, and I'm sure like the recruits listening have like high school track experience. And so just to get to continue something I loved, but still prioritize academics and know that at the end of the day, that's what I'm there for. That's what all my teammates are there for. And the coaches respect that and they encourage you to take your schoolwork really seriously, and everyone kind of has that same priority in mind.
Yeah, I was gonna. Oh, my bad. Um, I was gonna say, kind of just reiterate what everybody has been saying. Like it wasn't really a single factor that I could boil it down to. I think for like track specifically is like I remember the first time I really talked to Ruben, we had like a really good like 30-minute conversation about philosophy because he was also a philosophy major in college. And I think from that point, just from the first moment I really talked to him, I could tell that like unlike a lot of other coaches I talked to and stuff like that, it was like track was really important to him, both as a person and that I wasn't just gonna be a race horse for him or something like that. And he also always takes time to really like develop people outside of track and the community as well. Just like people, seniors, for no reason at all, were as a freshman before I was even really on the team, just trying to put me on to the networking things, to internships, to stuff like that. And I was just like, you don't have any reason to do this. Why are you doing this? Like, this is really nice of you. And yeah, that wasn't really something I experienced anywhere else. Yeah.
I think everyone here has made some really good points, so I'm going to keep it very short. I think I came to Amherst because I didn't want to be defined by any one activity or community. And I think I've really found that here. I am a track athlete and I love being part of this team, but that doesn't define me. And I can also be involved in several other organizations and communities. Secondly, something I wish I had known before coming here and that I've loved about Amherst, and some of you have already touched on this, but is the level of support that comes from faculty and staff. I think I was really nervous that it was going to be a bit cutthroat and that I was going to be competing with my other classmates and that professors wouldn't be able to give me help. And I found that everybody that I reach out to has been incredibly willing to drop everything and make sure that I am able to succeed and reach the goals that I want to achieve. So I've loved that about Amherst and think it makes Amherst a particularly special place.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for sharing. That was the last of our pre-prepared questions. I'm just going to go to the audience questions. And one is there anything that the team does to make first-year students feel a part of the team? So I'll let y'all go ahead and address it. Whoever wants to go. Not everyone has to respond. Just feel free to chirp in if you want to add something to that.
So I mean, Oliver and I were first years this year, so I imagine things are a little bit different than what they usually were like. But I was just really happy with a lot of the adjustments that both the coaching staff and older athletes made. Like I think the way we do our warm ups is really unique, where we have a lot of things we have to memorize, and we do it together as a team. And I think a lot of the older athletes really took the initiative to be leaders just inherently, without, even if it wasn't like you're a captain or there's like a strict regiment where it's like Coach Veronica says, here, like, you guys run this today. Like, a lot of it was just more casual. But in terms of concrete things, like I said earlier, Coach Veronica gave us a list of everyone in our grade, and gave us our contact information, so we were able to be in touch before we got there, which I thought was very helpful. And then a lot of the things that people said about Amherst as a school as a whole really applied to the track team, in terms of when you first get there, there's a bunch of welcoming people and supporting people that you ask, like Ellis said, like, why are they doing this? But they just do things just because I guess it was done to them as well. And it's a nice thing to do. So it's a lot of personal relationships and small things. I'm sure there's a lot of more structural things that maybe didn't happen during a COVID year, or things that I can't even remember right now. But I really enjoyed what everyone did to make my first year enjoyable, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I right out the gate, like as soon as I got onto campus, I had like no idea where my dorm was, and like I just left the welcome center, or it was a testing center actually, so we had just gotten tested, and like somebody on our team just randomly recognized me, I think from my visit or something, and he like showed me to my dorm and helped me move in, and as like I it's kind of a microcosm of like that's representative of the culture as well. But yeah, I think that like people are just so willing to help and so willing to like put things down to make sure that you're comfortable and make sure that you feel welcome. That yeah, you just kind of feel it's apparent as soon as you're on campus, and just knowing that that support system is there is really important.
Yeah, definitely. I think just on a day-to-day basis, you'll see that first years really are just integrated from the start completely and really welcomed and accepted. I think Coach Ruben always talks about the like inverted pyramid, or he's talked about it in the past. I actually don't even really remember what the analogy was for. I think the idea of it is just sort of that the upperclassmen are really catering to the needs of the first years and the underclassmen. I remember I don't know, I think we still do a lot of different things like this. My freshman year, different upperclassmen were paired with different first years kind of, and like had lunch with them, or it was like a mentorship kind of program where you could message back and forth with them, get advice, and that was really helpful. So I think we do a lot of things like that, of that nature.
Yeah, something I would also say that I loved about the Amherst team specifically was as a freshman, it felt like the upperclassmen were looking out for me, but not babying me. So they definitely think of you. In college, it's very different from high school, where the age difference of 14 to 18 is pretty dramatic. But in college, everyone being 18 and living on their own, there's kind of more like camaraderie between the ages. So I thought it was really cool that I had a lot of upperclassmen friends who treated me totally like anyone else, which I think was great to have. And also, as other people have said, the networking that they provide and just the general support is very helpful.
Yeah, kind of just to echo like what everyone else is saying, I don't think that there's any like specific like ritual or thing that makes you feel part of the team, which I think is great because like no one's doing something just because they have to. Like it's just this collection of all these little things like that people will do or just like show that they kind of like value you as a teammate, and it just adds up in the end. Yeah, but one thing I can think of is like in the summer, or not in the summer, in the fall, like when we first got there, some of the mid-D girls would go on like long runs. And so me and Sierra, and I think a couple other freshmen maybe would get a chance to kind of meet some of the mid-D girls in a smaller group setting, and then, you know, get to go on long runs with them where we kind of, you know, got to know each other and just talk. And like, they were so kind, like they weren't like, if anyone feels like we need to slow down, if you guys want to stop, if we want to do less mileage, like it was just kind of to like get to know you and like stuff like that. So that really stood out to me as being a part of the team.
I was gonna say, I think everybody's made really good points. Again, I don't want to be sitting here repeating. I think for me specifically, it was like just like a real genuine like care that came with like the workouts, and came with seeing them, making sure I was especially included in the social life. And I know, especially being like a person of color, student of color on Amherst campus can be really alienating at first. And coming in, I think they really, like the seniors, the captains, made a good job of like including, and especially because the first couple weeks I was definitely feeling really outsider on the campus. They really helped that. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess just briefly, I would just add that I think I got very close with everyone as a freshman just through meals. I think dinners, especially with the team, were really kind way for all the upperclassmen to just reach out and just show that they really invested and like were interested in how our first semesters were going, and had so much wonderful advice when it came to picking classes and thinking about upcoming years and about the track season. And so I really loved those dinners, especially my freshman fall, and really loved getting to know all the upperclassmen.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your responses to that one. And Maggie, this question is actually only for you because you're the only one from the West Coast on this call. Is what have been one or two biggest adjustments or challenges that you've had moving from the West Coast to Massachusetts?
Love that question. I think, well, first and foremost, obviously the weather is the biggest adjustment. I think what was hardest for me coming from California is I'm used to sun year round and love the sun. And it was really hard, honestly, especially in Western Mass. It feels like winter lasts from November to April. And so that was honestly a big adjustment for me to get used to just less time outside and just cold temperatures, but that's fine as long as you have a good jacket. And so I think what really helped then, honestly, was track. We run outside, even if it's cold, even if it's gross weather. I started running like leggings instead of shorts, which was also weird, but being able to get outside every day, even when it's not sunny, kept my mood up, even when winter was gross and yucky. In terms of like culture between West Coast and East Coast, I felt like it wasn't as dramatic as I thought. I think growing up in California, I was like, oh, like everyone on the East Coast seems so formal and stuck up. And then you get to college and everyone's kind of the same. So, and everyone at Amherst is so lovely and nice. So I would say that was the biggest thing for me, was just getting used to different weather cycles and just understanding that I didn't get as much sun as I would have liked, but ended up being fine. And it's a tough adjustment your first year, but then after that, you get used to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Maggie. I feel bad that was like literally only addressed to you, but that's okay. So glad we had some one person on the West Coast, and no more questions coming in. So just the last thing I would ask y'all to just say is just one word. I'm limiting you to one word of how you would describe the team culture at Amherst. One word, that's it.
Inclusive.
Well-rounded.
Humble.
Supportive.
Fine.
Joyful.
Oh, I'm lagging, but I was gonna say encouraging.
Someone went right before Maggie and I could barely hear it. Whoever that was, would you mind repeating yourself? I'm so
Oh yeah,
sorry.
sorry. I don't know what's going on. Mine was fun.
Was that everyone? Did I miss anyone there? No. Okay, great. Well, that's all we have for tonight. So thank you all so much for your time, for the students in our team. Really appreciative of your time in the summer, and for the students on watching us live or watching us back later. Thank you so much. And tentatively, we are planning on doing another one on Sunday, August 22nd. So kind of need to nail some people's availability down. So yeah, I'll be on the lookout for more information about that from the event coach who sent you information about this. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And just thank you all so much, and have a lovely night or lovely day wherever you're signing on and however you're signing on from. So yeah, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're done. Thank you so much, everyone.